And we're live.
Da-da-da.
I feel like I just kind of, and we're live. Welcome everyone to our 19th episode of Paulette and Becs Wine Lives. Today we are super excited once again to have our beautiful friend Blaise Hunter, author,
Yay.
woman of all trades, to come talk to us about her passion project called Footprints, Infertility, and Pregnancy Loss Group.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
Beautiful.
So when we had Cheryl on our last Wine Live, we had her on to talk about her book, Heroine, which I have on my shelf. If you don't have a copy, please pick it up on. Oh, can you see it?
There you go. Yes.
Oh no! Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Blaise Hunter Heroine. Sorry, my internet keeps cutting out, guys. I apologize. Anyways, we also kind of started talking about Blaise's new project, and what she's done is she's created a safe place for people that have gone through infertility or pregnancy loss to kind of have a support group and learn how to heal. And I just think that this is like absolutely incredible. Our
Oh dear, I think we've lost her. Can
I
you
think
hear her?
I can't hear her, but I can hear you.
Sorry, guys, I froze again.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know what's up over here.
So the structure of this one is, I'm excited about it because I'm kind of playing the student, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys had your first session of this a few weeks ago. And
yes, last week.
Could attend. And so I've been hearing some amazing sort of just like how she's been feeling. I've caught a couple go lives of people talking about what they got from it and how amazing it is. So I'm super intrigued. If you just want to like kind of touch on exactly what this like passion project of yours is, and then sort of how the first one went and how it's all kind of unraveling for you guys.
Yeah. So I wrote a few chapters in my book, Heroine, about my infertility, my 3 miscarriages, the struggle with that, some other local women and friends contributing their stories of loss. And it was always kind of in the back of my head that I want to start a movement where we start talking about these issues more. Didn't really know how that would, play out. But I thought of the Dragonfly Center just 2 months ago. This happened within 2 months. And I just approached them and said, hey, you're an amazing center. You deal with crisis counseling. I would like to partner with you just to attach our names together and launch a project where we hold gatherings for people to come together, men and women, to talk about their struggles in a safe place and where they feel comfortable to get loud of their silent struggles, that no longer we need to struggle in silence. And from that first meeting, it happened so quickly. Sometimes that just is supposed to happen when it just poof, it just happened. And you're like, I didn't even put much thought or effort into it. And it just rolled into play. And that was really exciting. So we got our first meeting November 26th, and we had 9 people, including 3 men. And that, I think, is a huge, huge thing, is to have 3 men that felt comfortable to come with their spouses and share what they're feeling and support their spouse and learn how other women are dealing with things. So just an amazing support group has just started in the area.
Wow, it was
that's
so
a huge win.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was so impressed to see guys there, because I honestly thought, because when things first start, a lot of times people are really shy, right? Like really shy to go or to start or be the first ones to be involved, because they want to see who all went first, maybe, which nobody would really know because it's all confidential. But I was just so impressed to have seen like 3 different husbands come with their wives. I was like, wow. And I said it a few times. I was like, I am so impressed by you guys. Like, you have no idea how much that would mean to your significant, you know what I mean?
Oh, totally. Just to have that support. And, we're breaking, that's what something that like my husband, Rob, and I are trying to break that stigma that men have to be super strong for their spouse and not grieve and not have a struggle, because men struggle. It just might look differently, but they still struggle with those emotions and the frustrations and how to deal with your spouse or your partner. Like I wrote in my book, I couldn't be there for him. I was a mess. I wasn't able to be there for my husband. He had to find somewhere to go, and there was no place to go. So we just really struggled in that maze until we were able to like pull ourselves out. But now you see it and you're like, yes, we need to be there for the men. We need to be there for the women. And it's not just the 2 weeks after, it is months after, it's a year after, that there's still healing that needs to happen. So that's just kind of my goal, is to kind of offer that, free way of communication, that we can break this silence barrier, that it's taboo. It shouldn't be taboo.
Exactly.
It's very common and yet heartbreaking. So we need to talk about it.
Cheers to that. Cheers to talking about it and not having it be taboo.
Yay. Cheers.
Yay.
It was interesting. I just watched a documentary about Walt Disney, and I was impressed. In that documentary, they talked about how they had 3 miscarriages, him and his wife, and they had 2 before their first daughter and then 1 after her, and then they decided to adopt. And in the 40s, like, and it was just an amazing, like, I launched this group and watched this documentary, and they're being more open. Like, I'm like, look at here, they're being open about the miscarriages on his documentary, where maybe in a different time they wouldn't even have mentioned that, just said 2 daughters, right? But they mentioned the struggle. And I think, yay, we are making headway where we're now getting that info, that tidbit of information is included because it's part of their story.
Yeah, that's
I love
great.
it. And I think that's so important too, for people to just have a place, even just an everyday conversation, for it to become okay to just say, when people are saying, oh, do you have any kids? Well, actually, I've had a miscarriage, but like, we're trying. And make it okay, because the more that I know for myself after having mine, the more that I actually talked about it, it was never easy, but the more I spoke about it, it became easier.
Yes.
And it's not like we're hiding something anymore. It's like, it happened. It's part of my story. It's who I am. And now I'm still moving forward. I'm finding other ways. But instead of hiding a piece of me, people then know that it's okay. Like, we can talk about it.
And that you know what? I don't just have 1 child. I have 4. Like, I have 4 children, right? Like, how does that make me less of a mother? It doesn't. And I need to honor them in that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. One of the really cool things that I really loved about the meeting that we had was that as soon as we walked into the door, we got these really awesome bags. And it was a paper bag, and in it, there was all kinds of information. So we got a pamphlet on the actual group itself, kind of explaining what it's all about. And the goal of the group, which I think is really cool. We also got some information for men. So I don't know, do you have yours, Cheryl?
No, so you just read it.
So this one, it's called Pulling the Goalie and the Challenges of Lighting the Lamp. So this one is geared towards men, which I think is really great.
I love it.
Well, I thought that, like, as I was creating
men grieve.
Yes, men grieve too. And as I was creating that, I said to Rob, I'm like, I can't put on a guy pamphlet like what to do if your sperm is low. Like, it just doesn't speak to men. Right? And so I'm like, how do I gear this that a guy would feel okay to open this up? Because it's information for them, but I don't want to discredit what they're going through, and I don't want to make a joke out of it. It's just more like what is geared to get guys lingo. And so when I posed that to Rob, he's like, yep, I like it. So that was how the title came up.
I think it's great. Did you see my reaction? I think it's awesome. I would open it, and I think that's cool because like a woman would grab that and be like, "Oh, that's funny," and then read it, and it's ways of supporting your spouse as well.
Yes.
Like I think it's really powerful.
Like getting into a guy's head, like we think it's all about the woman. What do you mean this is happening only to me? What do you mean you're having a hard time? Like if I miscarried, you didn't miscarry. And it's like, no, we need to stop saying that because though they physically didn't miscarry, they're right there with you experiencing that. And if they're going through infertility, if they're going through no sperm count or low mobility, or there's a whole gamut of emotions, a guy's feeling of inadequacy, or we tie men's fertility to their manhood. So if they don't have good swimmers, they're not a man. And that leaves them very frustrated. What do they do with those feelings? And there's no outlets for that. So it's just to kind of open up that conversation and give a different perspective on what each other are going through.
Yeah, totally. Carrie says yes, and Matilda. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. So tell us, can you tell them a little bit about what Matilda can do?
So yeah, I have a friend of mine that has been following me in my health journey, and she's just this lovely lady named Matilda, and she does a lot of sound therapies. And she does this thing called voice toning, and it's just octaves. And I kind of maybe relate it to how you watch the Disney movie with The Little Mermaid, and she was like, ah, in the ocean. And it's like this beautiful melody, but no words. And Matilda does that for me when she does this voice toning. So instead of doing maybe a moment of silence in honor of all those babies that we've lost or mourn for the dream that hasn't happened yet, that I just wanted to honor our babies with this melody. So she opened up the whole group with that song. So it was just very moving and touched people's hearts.
Wow.
It was so good.
It's just giving a little bit of honor. I think that even with the support groups, the point is we keep moving through our grief, that we don't always honor the babies that we've lost. Yeah. And because it's so painful to go there. And I admitted in the group, and I'll share it now, that I've never named my babies. It's been such a deep thing. I don't know if I can even go there. It's so hard to even get to that point for me. I still am not through that because it's very tender. I don't know how to name them. I don't know what to do. So I move forward, and then days go by and I still haven't honored that. So I think that's something for me to even revisit, is just how to live it, name them, and let go versus hold on to that hurt because it's still deeply inside of me still.
Yeah, we did the same. We didn't either.
Yeah, and not saying that everyone does. Everyone has to do what's right for them. I just know I haven't been able to because it's been so painful.
Yeah.
Another thing we got this beautiful bracelet, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's got little tiny footprints on it. So that was another thing, is that when we walked in the door and we all received these bags, and I looked at my friend Carrie and I said, oh shit.
You're gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.
I really
my chocolate. So that was good.
Oh, yes. And your encouragements.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So you get a mint, and it says enjoy your encouragement, and then you can read it, Paulette.
So clever.
If you're never frozen.
I love it.
Head tilt.
Sorry. One day I'll have. Yeah, it was so touching. The whole evening was just it filled my heart. One of the things that I was telling Becs, that it was just such a cool experience to meet all these people who you may know, like you may know them by face, like not necessarily by name, and then through the sharing and everything that goes on there, in that like hour or two that we were there, to leave there feeling such an incredible bond. And like every person that was there, somebody had brought up, and this was my favorite part, somebody had brought up about when they grew up in their small town, they had a phone
Yes.
set up as uh, did I just cut out?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I?
A phone
Yeah.
tree. A phone
Yeah,
tree. Yes.
yeah. So they brought up about this phone tree when they grew up. They were a bunch of farmers and they all had this phone tree. So the minute that something would go wrong, they would start calling down the list, and those people would call, and everybody had a job, a duty. And if you had one man down, then you had all those other people to come and help you somehow, lift you up, whatever it may be, take care of your kids, bring you meals, do whatever. And she suggested this, that we start this. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to be part of that. Like, and most of them were strangers that I'd never met before. You know what I mean? And I left there thinking, like, this is powerful. And yeah, it was so perfect.
I think that's really cool too, because if you get that at a support group, you might live in a town where you have no family. You might be new, you might not have a core group of friends, and then you're going through something like this. If there is something like that, like a phone list, where one of those people you've connected with your group finds out that something's happened, and then all of a sudden all these people just start, the support's there. I think that's an incredible thing. When you told me that idea, I was like, I've never thought of anything like that before. Like, I think that's amazing.
It was just so wonderful to have people really contributing. They just didn't come and sit and let me talk for 2 hours, because that's not the point. It's so we can all share and all feel something. And so just lovely. Everyone contributed. Everyone felt safe. And that's what I want to say. Like, it is so safe, like privacy, and we're not sharing your personal information outside the group. It's just to have that sense of peer support in your community. Sorry. And just having that notion that you're not the only one dealing with those emotions. Because I think women and men are like, oh, I must be the only one. Like, I'm just having a hard time. It's just me. It's just me doing this and feeling this. And it's no, it's we all are going through some version of that, but we all feel like we can't share it because it's just us, right? So opening that
Yeah.
line of communication was just really awesome. And hopefully it just grows and grows, that people feel more comfortable to share. And you don't need to give them an answer. It's just verbalizing. And people came up to me after and just said, I've never said that out loud before. And that's what we want. Just say it out loud. Sometimes you just need to say it and then let it go versus holding it so hard in here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And now, so you're also doing a lot of work within the community with this support group. You've contacted doctors and nurses, and they're starting to implement something. Is that right? Is that?
Yes. So I met with the doctors this week, and they're completely on board in the Bonnieville Hospital. So excited. They wanted to take my protocol bags and give them out immediately. And I was like, okay, I'm glad you're enthusiastic, but I need to get more bags and funding. So that's still a process, but they were just ecstatic. And we all agreed there's gaps and there's a lot of trauma after the fact. And so we're looking to just improve the system. And if we can improve it, then I've done my part. And I don't want anyone to feel alone and feel the trauma on their own. Like you said, like everybody that has a loss or infertility, it's like part of my family right now. And you hurt, I hurt. So I can't take away your hurt and your pain, and I can't fix it for you, but I can sure be there for you to lean on. And that's kind of the point. And so we're working together with the doctors, and I'm meeting the nurses this week as well to get a protocol going where those bags are actually handed out to everyone that has a miscarriage or loss or stillbirth on the front lines, whether it's in the clinic or in the hospital. And I want every single person to get that the moment they have a loss.
I think that's absolutely amazing. I'll
Thank
never
you.
forget
Up to your
like
funding.
I'll never forget what I was given at the hospital, and I still
Yes.
have it. And it is like a horrific handout. I don't even know why I still have it.
It's this photocopied sheet that almost every time I see it, it makes me go ill.
Mine's a
And,
yellow piece of paper, and it's awful.
okay. Yes.
It
So
doesn't
like,
even like go over it. I don't even remember what it says, but I just remember being like, "Are you kidding me? This is what I was given."
I know.
Mhm.
Like, it's wild. That,
And
and
I'm
then you just kind of are sent on your way, and it's kind of like, oh, this happens all the time. Here, there you go. See you later.
And I know doctors don't mean that. I don't.
No,
They
they
do.
don't.
They're so empathetic, but I know they're taxed. They're busy, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't have the time to walk you out the door and coddle you and hold you.
Yeah.
And but I said we can do better. Though at least giving those bags. Edmonton has implemented these bags. I've talked to the girl that originally started donating it herself as for her sister-in-law that had a traumatic experience and now has funding through the foundation. So that's my next goal. But yes, I fronted all of this by myself with my husband. So all the printing costs, all the bags, all those little things, the bracelets, I've done all by myself. So if you're looking to donate, definitely message me. You can find me on my Facebook page, Blaise Hunter Author, or you can email me at blaisethetrail@gmail.com, and we'll post all of that later
Yeah,
for the links.
we'll edit the post at the top, and we'll put all
Yeah.
of Blaise's information up there. So if you guys do want to donate somehow, we can get you in touch with Cheryl.
Thank you. I
Uh,
appreciate that.
yeah, Tina says we need to fundraise for this, and I totally agree. I'm
Mm-hmm.
100% on board with that, and I know that there is so many people in this community that would be on board for that as well.
Yes.
Another thing that we kind of wanted to mention is that because Blaise is doing this in our community, and
Oh, we lost her again. What she was
Sure.
going to say is
Yes.
because this is happening in the Bonnyville community, there's lots of other communities, because this is so fresh and so new. And
Mm-hmm.
if anyone has a community or they've gone through something similar and they want to offer up and find out a way to help their community and start a support group there, how to get in touch with the hospitals, do those different things, reach out to Blaise
Mm-hmm.
and kind of get some ideas and talk with her and figure out sort of what your role would be, where to start, how to get things rolling. Right? Is
Yeah,
that
and totally. And like anyone, any community, this is needed everywhere. And that's what I want to see. Like, it's not just a Bonnyville thing. I want to grow this to Cold Lake, to St. Paul, all around the surrounding areas and whoever I can reach to. And then if you're in your community, take the torch and let's just get this chatter going. It doesn't have to be this big, huge project that you can't do. It just starts with a conversation with somebody and be like, you know what, you should talk to that person. And then they donate your space. And you're like, oh, awesome. I have one step down. And it just kind of flows. And so that's how it happened with me. And I can definitely direct you of possible people to partner with where you don't have to pay for meeting spaces, where you can go meet with your doctors. You don't have to be some professional person to go sit down with the doctor. They want to know. They're part of the community too. So I think that just opening that conversation and talking to me, and we'll find a way for you to open it up in your community.
yeah, I think that's amazing.
oh, I think that's great. I'm so proud of you, Cheryl. It's just, I am just, my heart is like, my cup is overflowing.
You know,
Let's cheers to that.
You know, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks
Cheers
for
to
supporting me. Thank you. I have my puppy.
So another thing for this, I think that would be really interesting. I know it was mentioned, Paulette didn't give me any spoilers on this, that you also did a pamphlet and a handout and were speaking about support during the holidays and sort of
Yes.
how to support people going through either infertility, having a miscarriage, and sort of just kind of weaving around that, because the holidays is such a sensitive time, especially for people that are going through this. So,
Yes. Like, I knew that it would be a very touchy time because I myself have announced twice that I was pregnant on at Christmas. The first time it worked well for me and big Christmas present and all was happy for me. The second time I miscarried and I announced it at Christmas. So Christmas is a hard time for me. I've actually had 2 miscarriages over the Christmas holidays this past 2 years. And so I know other people are kind of going through that. Maybe your due date was over the Christmas holidays, and now that due date is fast approaching, and you're feeling anxiety and stress and not sure how to handle those emotions. Pregnancy announcements, huge thing. Everyone, like I did. And so when you've lost or can't get pregnant and you're just You know, you're using social media as your vice and you're just flipping through, and then all of a sudden, we're pregnant. Here's a picture of a sonogram. It happened to me yesterday. It broke my heart. And I'm happy for them. But in that moment, it triggered something where I'm like, yep, that still hurts to get it when I'm not prepared for an announcement like that. And when people come up and ask inappropriate questions, because you're going to be around family you don't see very often, and family just say things, they say inappropriate questions because we're still teaching the public and your family how to talk around this subject. And people are like, oh, when's your second kid? Or how you should be working on that. You know, you're not getting any younger. I've had all those questions. And now you're in a vicinity with tons of people. And oh, you're not drinking? Are you pregnant? And it's just like, no, I just decided to have water. You know, like it's a very hard maze to navigate over the holidays. And there's a lot of triggers. And there's some great information for mental health. You can Google. That's what I did, is just how to navigate infertility over the holidays. And I got some great articles. And even just sitting down with your partner and saying, you know, what are some of my triggers? Is it when someone announces they're pregnant? Is it when someone asks me, where's my second kid, or where's my kid? Why don't you have kids yet? You should be working on that. And then figure out a response that's honest, that isn't a made up joke. I think I did mention one time, I'm like, oh, you know, my kid's stuck in the mail. You know how the postal service is. I'm like, why did I have to make a joke just to
Yeah.
make someone feel better? And I said, I don't have to be mean, but I don't have to make a joke. I can honestly say, you know, we've had 3 miscarriages. And then that puts it back on them to maybe look at how they talk about it. And so it's just
How they
owning,
approach.
yeah. So it's owning your skeletons a little bit and just being honest rather than being so triggered and trying to come up with a quick witted response. Like, let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
love that.
totally agree.
And it
So
opens that
wait,
dialogue.
yeah. Can we maybe touch on a little bit of how we can help, or how we can suggest for people who haven't been through it,
Mm-hmm.
maybe for signs to look out for, or how they can help us in times like this?
I think even just asking, like, how, like, I think people don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, so they don't talk about it. Obviously, you're having struggles. Obviously, you don't have a kid, but people don't talk about it because they feel like they are going to trigger you. But I think, speaking for me, and everybody is different, so like you do have to walk on treaded waters here, but just saying, you know, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Is there something I can do for you? You know, you don't have to ask all the nitty gritty details and have this curiosity that people are like, I don't want to talk to you. You just kind of come honest and just real and vulnerable and say to someone, you know, are you having any hardships? Is there anything I can do for you in this time? And just that right there opens up somebody's heart because they feel loved and supported. And you don't
Yeah,
have to have the perfect words. It's just feeling supported.
yeah, because for so many people, like I shared in the group the one night, is that for so many people, they're like something so traumatic happened in your life, and everybody else was able to just kind of continue on with life. But for us, it was
Mm-hmm.
devastating. And that was one of my triggers, was that people could just go on with their day pretending like nothing happened. And I was like broken.
Mm-hmm.
Even just acknowledge, I feel like even just acknowledging it is huge, right? Because then you're letting your friend know, or your family member know, that like they remember that it's not just, oh, well, that happened last year. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
You
like
must,
how did you feel, Bex? Like how did, like, what would have helped for you?
I don't know,
Yeah.
to be honest. I like thinking back, like I remember I was devastated, and all I could think was, I can't believe I told people I was pregnant, because I didn't know what to do at that point. Like for myself, I had no idea, how do I now tell these people? I can't even say it out loud when I get a text message that says, "How are you feeling?" And they have no
Mm-hmm.
idea that I've miscarried, or like I just I didn't even know how to react. I remember one day I was on the couch just crying, and Kent had to come home from work because I could not gather myself.
Yep.
Like,
I think sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, yeah, there's a support number on that ugly pamphlet that I got.
I know.
But, like, what do you do with it? Except the one thing I did have was my midwives.
Mm-hmm.
And they called and checked in on me. And they were absolutely amazing. And they called and say, like, how's it going? And I would say certain things. And they'd be like, this is what you can expect. This is how it's going to kind of go. And I remember I called them when everything sort of started happening, because I knew before I started bleeding. And I phoned them and I said, okay, it started, like, and they're like, okay, this is what you're going to expect. And so that part of it was incredible, because I'm a nurse and I had no idea. Like, it was like, if you don't specialize in an area, you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And it was having that support of knowing what was going to happen when that happened was really amazing. Otherwise, a lot was on Kent. He was my support system. He was my everything in it. And he was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He called his boss and was like, I got to go. He didn't care.
Good. Yeah.
So he was amazing. So it was a lot. Everything was on him. But I know for him, he was like, oh, we'll just try again.
Yeah.
Like, for him, it didn't hit him because it was early. It didn't hit him like it hit me. So I think, like, in that aspect too, spouses are very different in how they're going to be able to provide support of what it looked like, what that looks like, right? Like, so for him, it was very much, he just supported me because it was me at that point.
Well, and that's interesting what you say, like, and that is our first thought is I shouldn't have told anyone. Yeah. But why? Why is that the thought? Like, that doesn't make you less pregnant. That doesn't make the loss any more insignificant. That doesn't mean you could have put out any fires.
Nope.
So, like, and that's just something, our first one, we waited. And then we're like, you know what? Screw that. Why are we waiting? Because then in that conversation, you say, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant and then I've miscarried. And it's a lot of information for someone. So it's like, you know what? We find out at 4 or 5 weeks we're pregnant. We're telling people. And we know we're rolling the dice on whether this actually happens or not. But those people that we tell, we know that they're going to be in our inner circle to support us. Right?
That's just it, right?
Yes.
Like, when that does happen, you need that support.
Yes.
Well, and exactly.
And I think that even my husband brought up in the group, he's like, I don't think you ever want to sit there and plan for a miscarriage or plan for a stillbirth or something to go wrong. But we kind of need to just have a little bit of a plan of who you're going to contact, who's going to take my kid if I got to go to the hospital and get a D&C. How am I going to work all these angles if I don't have those conversations with my inner people, right? Or even we make birth plans and C-section plans, and we have all these plans for all the good stuff, but we got to be fully aware that it is common. And by not talking about it and not making plans, we're not making it less common. We're just making it less vocal and less prepared for it. And so we need to start talking, this isn't a fear for me. This isn't going, I don't wish for it to happen. I'm not thinking about it, but I'm going to be prepared. Who am I going to tell? Who do I need help from? And get that help from people that have gone through it, because I didn't know the first time. I didn't know what I was going to go through. I didn't know, like you said, even you're a nurse, like you don't know until you're in it. And it's too late to be prepared because you're in shock, you're in trauma, you're in grief, you're in survival mode. It's kind of nice when you have that little bit of expertise of, like, you need to call someone, you need meals for the weekend. You might need to go to the city, you need a babysitter, you need all hands on deck. And that's hard to be logical thinking when you're in that depth of sorrow. So it's just having maybe a little bit of a conversation of, who would I call?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I can't imagine having already had children and then that happened.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get off my couch for like a week.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just laid with my dog on my couch, watched TV. Like, that was me. So, and I think it's really cool too, like listening now and thinking about it now that we're talking about this, is why do we always wait till the 12-week mark or the first heartbeat mark? Like, why not just the first pee on the stick and that's going to help make having a miscarriage easier to talk about and everyone more open to it. It still hurts just as much, but it being normal to be like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
I had never ever thought about it like that until Blaise said it at the meeting, and I was like, yeah.
I didn't think about it till right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm done waiting. I'm done waiting. Like, who made up the 12-week rule?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
You
Like,
know,
where did that come from?
hey, I know then everybody would be announcing their miscarriages. Oh, well, then it wouldn't be such a suffering and silence for every woman. And you go through like people that come to the group and like, you're here, you had a miscarriage, you have multiple. Like, who knew? Who knew all these people are struggling? Because we don't talk about it. And I just want to blow the lid off of it because it's not trivial, and it's not something we just want to make it vocal. It's because we are suffering so badly and hurting, and women and men are struggling, and we need to bond together and fight this battle together, not individually, in silence and in depression and in loneliness.
Yeah.
I'm done with the loneliness, right?
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
I think what you're doing is amazing. Cheers.
Thank you. And I wouldn't be able to do it without people supporting it and realizing we need it. So cheers to everyone coming and supporting me and joining the Facebook group and the doctors and the nurses. Like, it takes a village. It's not just me, because I'm kind of blazing the trail on it, so to speak, but I have such an amazing group behind me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now your Facebook page is open to anyone, correct?
Yes. So yeah, I want to be like very clear that it's not just for those that are having loss or infertility struggles, because I want to open this up topic for men. I want to open this topic for people that have loved ones that are suffering and don't know how to support. Like we said, like, how do you talk to them? What do you say? What do you do? And it's like us educating them is going to be the key. So it's open to people in Bonnyville, in the Lakeland, in Canada, in the US. I have people all over involved in it, because maybe you don't have anything where you are. And I'll never shun anyone away, because I just want to scoop everybody up and give them a hug. You're not alone.
And you can already tell, even just after that first meeting, there's already so many people. Like I was telling Blaise before, there's so many people now sharing their stories in the group. In the last 3 days, I don't know how many have popped up, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's been like, because I know when you start something like this and it's so sensitive of issue, are they going to trust me? They don't know me. Are they trusting me with their utmost personal traumas? And just a little by little, we're opening up and people are starting to share. And it's horrible to look at and see everybody struggling so much, but it's so beautiful to know that they feel safe and comfortable to share their pain and not suffer alone in their room, on their couch, crying in the middle of the night. They're going to this group and they know that there's a backing, a tribe of people that are willing to listen and willing just to comfort you. We don't have any answers. We don't have anything we can say to take it away, but we can give you a hug and we can say, you know what? You're not alone. We've got you. You can do this. Take on the day. You're an amazing warrior. And we're cheerleaders. And that's the point of the group, is to be a cheerleader.
I love it.
Me too.
It's needed. It's just so needed. And just story after story, like the healthcare system needs it. They need to see what we're going through, because they don't know if we don't talk. So we can't fix what we don't speak of. So it's just another avenue of creating a better system. We can do better than that stupid sheet that we get handed to us in that moment of despair. And we walk out in this walk of horror with this stupid sheet. And I don't think maybe the healthcare staff even recognize fully yet of the trauma that sheet does. Like, I want to do away with photocopied sheets and maybe a yellowed sheet now. Because honestly, like, that's what my whole intent was, to put my heart in what would I have at least somewhat felt comfort in. Because obviously you don't want anything in that bag. Obviously you don't you're not skipping out now that you've got some bag. It's just something that causes a little bit of, warmth and empathy. And we're infusing that empathy back into the process. I think it's very clinical and very cold. And this is way more deeper of a topic than medical.
Absolutely. And I think even just the fact, I know for myself, the fact that you have that bracelet in there is probably going to be the biggest thing that people hold on to. Because I remember when I had my miscarriage, I was sitting on the couch on one of those days and I ordered a necklace with a heart.
Oh.
Yeah. And I still have it. And it's crap. It was like, I thought it was like good quality. It's crap. It's tarnished, but I don't care. I still have it. And I know exactly what it symbolizes. I don't care that it's tarnished. It doesn't matter. I have this little heart necklace that I bought for my memory. And I think that footprints bracelet is absolutely amazing. Like that idea alone, opening something up, regardless of the information that's in there, because that's all going to be amazing too. And it will be read at some point, but it might be down the line, is that little bracelet. I can guarantee the women will love.
Well, thank you.
Love
my
it.
hope is to also include a copy of my book. If we can get that all together, I would love, there's 3 chapters in there alone talking about this process specifically. And I think it would really help women and men go through this in a little bit better way. And, and it's just like discovering all new things. Like I went with the doctors and they do have actually a system in place. It just hasn't been consistent. But they do have, if anyone's watching right now, please spread the word that the Bonnyville Hospital does have a naming ceremony and a thing that they can do with the chapel. It's just not advertised consistently, and I'm working to change that. And with these packets, have all of that information given out every time. But please know that they do things. It just hasn't been maybe marketed well and talked about enough. But we are going to make sure that is the norm that everybody knows about.
That's really cool.
We need to honor it's a life. And I think we've disconnected. It's a funeral. It's a life that you somehow have to honor that in a way that's unconventional, because it's not going to a cemetery. It's not having a funeral service. So like, how do you honor a grief like that when you take away all those steps that we do to honor our grief? So let's not discount a miscarriage or a stillbirth. It was a death in your family, a serious one, and one you were definitely not prepared for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that, yes, we get in that 1 in 6, 1 in 4 in the US, 1 in 6 in Canada. But I know for me, and I pose the question to you guys, did you ever think, yeah, that happens to other women, but that doesn't happen to me? Like that won't happen to me.
Yeah. No.
Tina said they've worked so hard at the hospital with nursing mothers, and now they need to focus on this.
And I definitely don't want to take away from the healthcare system or the doctors or nurses, because I know they're doing their very best. But we can always improve. And sometimes it takes someone to, I've had this problem and this experience, and I want to dedicate some energy and time into this, to improving it and working with the doctors. And they've been so amazing. They're like, yes, we agree. There is some gaps, and we're going to start filling them together. And so I'm happy that they're so supportive of that, and they see that this is something that there's a fallout after you walk out of there. There is this grief and this depression and the loneliness and the struggle, and it's months and years. Because if we have multiple miscarriages, this isn't just one. Could be years. And for me, it's 3 years right now of a struggle. Yeah. And there's nothing there to help you through that. And nowhere where you feel comfortable to go to somebody and be like, I'm not having a good day today. I saw a Facebook post, like that's, but that's what this Facebook group is all about. Like, say your struggles. I don't care if it makes you look like a mean person that you weren't happy for your bestest of friend. That's okay. Honor your feeling, and we'll work together to figure out how to lessen the blow and how to be happy for them. And you know what? I can cry, but I can move forward. And that was something Rob and I always said in our last miscarriage. When we woke up in the middle of the night, I was bleeding. And I'm like, I think I'm miscarrying again. And we just sat there, and he held me and he said, you know what? Even if we are, let's just take a breath, and we're okay. Our life is still okay. We have a daughter, and I'm very blessed with that. So life is okay, and we've made it through 2 of these. We can do it again. And that's all I had to keep saying to myself, because it's so easy to go down that spiral of a road and be like, I give up. And my life is still worth living. And I want every woman and man to know that when you're in your midst of your depression and your struggles, life is still worth living. Please don't give up. Please don't get so lost in your grief that you don't see life as beautiful as it is and as beautiful as you once saw it, because it is beautiful. And if you need extra help, because I am not a medical therapist, I'm here as a peer support group. So if you do need extra, please contact me and I'll get you in contact with someone, because I know we don't often phone those numbers. I know that.
Yeah.
But they're
it's
there
usually
to help
amazing
us.
people it's usually amazing people on the other side of those numbers.
Totally.
Just
And
the
so
way that those are presented.
Yes, so we'll get you in contact. If you need extra help, I will get you in contact with someone that can help you. If you are really feeling depressive and suicidal thoughts, please contact me. I will get you in line with someone that can help you, or contact those numbers. Please don't sit there another day drowning in those miseries and those thoughts and those what ifs, because you're not alone in that, and we can help each other through it and still live life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Blaise, I am so incredibly proud of you.
I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you for coming back on with us and sharing how your first one went and how you are literally blazing this trail of making this normal and allowing it to be talked about, because it is very, very powerful.
Thank you. I'm so excited for the next one. We are taking a break this month just because I know Christmas is an insane time of year. So we will break for December, but I will post soon of the next meeting in January. And I hope to just spread the word to get people out there, and hopefully the same people and new people, and just, you know what, even like you, Paulette, you said you had one a long time ago and you came and found a different kind of healing out of it. So even if you feel like, oh, that's been 15, 20 years, I'm over it, maybe just come. And maybe because you have been through it, maybe if you are totally over it, you can help someone that isn't through it yet, and you've been there, and you can be a mama to somebody else. So don't ever discount that you don't have a need in this group, because I think everyone has a place and a need. You just don't know where your talent area maybe is to support.
Absolutely. And that group, if anybody needs that support, from no matter where you are, if anybody needs that support, make sure that you join that group, because there are so many incredible people who are just a type away.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to thank you again, Blaise, for coming and sharing your story.
Cheers.
And I think
Cheers.
Woo! Cheers to change.
Positive change, breaking glass ceilings, blazing the trails, whatever. We're doing it.
Yeah, girl. Okay. So.
Oh,
sorry,
no.
I froze.
Oh,
no. We're losing you again, girl.
Okay, Bex, do you want to transition us into what's happening?
Or let's just save it. This is so amazing. Let's just leave this, and we will tell you guys our other announcement later. But this is just I just feel like this is amazing. We'll keep this just this because it's so powerful, and what you're doing is so amazing, Blaise. So I think we'll just keep it just like this. So thank you so much to everyone who tuned in, stuck with us.
Yes.
If you caught the replay, let us know. If you want into the Facebook group, or you're interested in learning how to start this in your community, reach out to Blaise or reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with Blaise either way. And yeah, thanks for jumping on with us, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yay.
Should I sing? Da-da-da-da.